Welcome. I'm Pat Soldano, president of Family Enterprise USA. We advocate for multi-generational family businesses and their lifetime of savings in Washington, D.C. at a national level. We represent all sizes of business and all industries. So I'm very, very pleased to have with me today Kevin Hancock, who is the chairman of Hancock Lumber. Kevin, welcome.
Thank you, Pat. It's good to be with you.
Terrific. So let's talk from the beginning about the history of the business, how it was conceived, maybe a little bit about the background, the number of employees, and those things.
Sure. Our company, Hancock Lumber, is located in Maine, and we're one of the oldest family businesses in America. Our company goes back to 1848, Pat. So before the first cannonball was fired in the Civil War. And we're currently in our seventh consecutive generation of family ownership. Our company is integrated in the forest products industry. So we own timberland and we grow trees. We have sawmills that manufacture lumber that we ship all over the world. And then in Maine and New Hampshire, we have a series of lumber yards that sell building materials to contractors and homeowners. And we have 730 people who work at the company.
Well, that's fascinating. You had mentioned that you have 730 employees. Can you tell us if any of those employees are generations of employees, meaning you have a family that maybe has more than one generation in the family actually working in the business? We have found that most family businesses have some, and some family businesses have quite a few.
Yeah, we're one of those. We have quite a few. We have lots of same generation families today with multiple people from that family working at the company. And then we've got quite a few individuals who work at the company today who are second, third, or fourth generation employees of the company. I'm at our home office right now, and downstairs, for example, is Courtney Estes. She's an amazing young woman, a mom, and a great community member. She's part of our accounts receivable team. Her mom worked here her entire career. Her uncle worked here his entire career. And her grandfather worked here his entire career, all of whom I've had the pleasure of knowing, working with, being friends with, and watching their amazing impact on our company and community.
Well, that's pretty typical, but good for you. We have learned that family businesses, generally 72% of them have generations of employees. And for you to know them personally is a true compliment to the way the family runs the businesses. Employees are as much family as the family members are themselves. So talking about workforce, let's talk about some of the workforce issues you may be facing. As a large international company, you must be facing issues maybe around immigration, maybe around staffing, finding talent. What are the challenges you're dealing with?
Yeah, great question. Always an important question because a company is never anything more than the sum of the people who work there. You take away the humans who work at this company and nothing happens. There is no company. So they are the company. And in our case, there are 730 of them. We have had the good fortune of being a best place to work in Maine for 10 consecutive years, running a decade. Our company's number one priority. Our single top business mission is to make work meaningful for the people who work at our company. As a result, upon saying most companies get whatever they consistently prioritize, and our company consistently prioritizes the people who work here. And as a result, most of them would say to you they're having an amazing experience. So we've got a company full of engaged people who find work meaningful. And as a result, our company's successful. And we don't have, honestly, a lot of workforce issues. We don't have a lot of openings. We don't have a tough time finding employees. I really believe that companies create their own destiny with respect to their workforce issues, and our family business values and culture and approach puts a huge premium on valuing, respecting, honoring, and empowering the people who work in our company. And as a result, we're fully staffed with and fully led by a great team of people.
Well, and I think that speaks to what you have on your website, which is you've been the recipient of the Best Place to Work in Maine award. And I love what you just said around culture and values, because you also say leadership is encouraged at every position in the company, and we strive to create a workplace where employees feel empowered, respected, and listened to, honoring their commitment. Everyone leads and is truly a best place to work. How do you instill that culture? How do you inspire? How do you motivate people every day to live that culture?
Yeah, it's just about consistently prioritizing it. I don't see, and we do not see employees at work. We see human beings who have jobs as a critical part of a meaningful life. And in life and in work, you get what you see. So when you show up seeing humans at work who are choosing to be a part of your company, and you show up intending on honoring them and empowering them, it all happens pretty naturally. It's really how humans would like to organize, how they prefer to organize, but it takes a leadership approach that is prioritizing the human experience at work. And I think a lot about this. I really think the place of work has an important role in advancing humanity. And I've thought a lot about how humanity advances, and I've concluded it's one human at a time. So if you were going to advance humanity at the adult level, you've got to do it where adults hang out. And in America, 155 million adults hang out at work. And so work is the perfect venue to help build respect, confidence, trust, empowerment, self-worth, all of those important intrinsic human values, which have the added benefit or outcome of all improving corporate performance. So you focus on the employee experience. The employees then are free and empowered to focus on the corporate experience, and work becomes a win-win exercise for everybody. And as you know, many, many family businesses, including ours, are wired this way. This is just how we wake up and view the world and view the purpose of our company.
Good for you. You're absolutely right. Many are, not all are as successful as you've been in doing that and living that culture and those values every single day. So congratulations on that. I'm going to switch gears here, in terms of subject and talk a little bit about tax and regulation and economic issues that affect your business. As you know, Family Enterprise USA advocates for family businesses in Washington, D.C., and we work on tax and economic issues that affect the families of the business. Similar to a trade association, but they tend to focus on the business issue. We focus on those issues that affect the families. So maybe you could talk to us a little bit about that, how any policy in this country, tax or economic policies, have affected the family or the business itself.
Great question, and of course, an important topic for which we could look at it from many angles. But let's just take the tax topic. The key to me there is to look holistically at the cumulative effect of all the taxes that a company pays. You've got to add them all up, right? The corporate income tax, federal corporate income tax, state, sales tax, excise tax, property tax, gasoline tax, social security tax, payroll tax, personal income tax, and then ultimately for companies like ours, the estate tax. That all comes out of activity that this company creates, for which the money then goes elsewhere. Obviously, some of it needs to go elsewhere, but the question is how much of it. And our growth at a local level is 100% funded by our own earnings. 100%. So you take our earnings, you deduct all of those taxes become our local opportunity cost. That is money that we are now not going to be able to reinvest at a local level. And I really encourage government leaders, policy advocates to think about taxation cumulatively. You can look at any individual tax and say, well, that's not too bad. That's not too burdensome. And it goes to a good use. Yes. But when you add what you really got to do, if you're sincerely interested in empowering local growth, corporate growth, family business reinvestment, is look at the cumulative impact of all the taxes and all the regulations. And when you look at it in a cumulative way, it is substantial. And it comes with an opportunity cost at the local level.
Yeah, I think that's an absolute smart way to look at taxes. As you said, it is cumulative and it is at a local level, which is so true. And at a local level, it means there's less available for the workers and the community and everyone else, right? So that's very, very important. And I think that's a good way to articulate it with our members of Congress. So to that point, what about your community giving? We find that family businesses give 80% of their giving typically to local communities or a local chapter of a national community. And on top of that, they usually, volunteer and do other things. Could you talk to us a little bit about what you do for your communities?
It's typical of what I'm sure you've seen at other family businesses around America. It's significant. Our giving in dollars is in the hundreds of thousands on an annual basis. Almost all of it is local, going directly to organizations we know, communities we know, and groups that we know. So there's a tremendous amount of activity that happens that way, and then you add on top of that the the gift of time that 730 people in our company are delivering in their own way to their community and to organizations of their choosing. We're a big believer in balanced lives and paying healthy living, competitive, aggressive wage and income to our employees on a 40-hour work week, and really giving our employees not just economic opportunity, but the gift of time as well. And what we see again and again and again is those people going out and reinvesting their time in their communities in amazing, beautiful, powerful, and really almost even immeasurable ways.
Yeah, I see that with other family businesses as well. You're so right about that. So let's talk about how can Congress help you to help your employees? As you mentioned, you pay them well, good benefits, time off. We've learned that 46% of family businesses actually pay better than non-family businesses. How can our Congress, our legislators, our policymakers help you so that you can pay your employer benefits and give them more opportunity as you've done so well?
Yeah, I think that's such a great question, and we could spend days on that topic. It would be lovely to have a meaningful, thoughtful national discussion around that topic. But quickly, a few things come to mind. One would be for political leaders to be very careful about their rhetoric. What you say matters, and the choice of words matters. And so when you hear, for example, elected officials say companies like Hancock Lumber don't pay their fair share, that's like we take that personally because we know what we pay, and it is substantial, and we know what we're doing, and we know what we mean to our local communities. But when you're an elected official, you're in a position of high visibility, high trust, high respect. And when you say things like that loosely, it's harmful. And it suggests to me when I hear someone say that that one might not even really know what we're paying, and it it's just not helpful. So rhetoric matters. Number one, words matter, not just policy, but words matter. Second, I would love to see, and this really builds up the first, a higher level of overt respect and trust and empowerment coming from Washington towards companies like ours. It feels like there is a disconnect in understanding at times from Washington about what motivates a company like Hancock Lumber, why we're in business, the mission we have for serving our employees and our communities. And I think there's an opportunity to decentralize a lot more of the doing good in this country, which finally some of that comes from rethinking our choices about about cumulative, again, tax policy, and particularly in a family business case like ours, the estate tax generationally on top of all the other annual incremental taxes is, for many companies, literally an impossible hurdle. That time and time again, you know, and I know, I've seen it, owners choose to sell in part to have the liquidity to be able to pay an estate tax. And for a country that values and loves local community businesses on one hand, and then have tax policies whose ultimate effect is to reduce the number of those businesses and limit their full potential, is a disconnect. And then to try to explain it all away with rhetoric that's not actually real or accurate or thoughtful makes it worse. So there's a huge opportunity for a rethinking in this arena, which you know, which is why you asked the question that could have a massive positive generative impact on the entire country and every single community we serve.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned paying your fair share, because we hear that rhetoric all the time. And I think legislators maybe, but I think it's offensive when we all know many individuals and family businesses do pay their fair share. So that's something we need to really educate members of Congress about. And I'm hopeful that at some point you'll get to come to Washington, D.C. when you're available and attend one of our caucus meetings, so you can tell the members of Congress need to hear it from individual family business owners.
Yes.
So wrapping this up, are there any final thoughts that you would like to share with me that maybe we haven't covered?
Well, it would be simply this: when it comes to thinking about business, corporations, and in this specific case, family businesses, it would be really healthy for everyone in Washington in a position of power, elected officials and agency leaders, when they think of companies like Hancock Lumber, to assume positive intent. Assume positive intent instead of starting from a perspective of distrust or the belief that we've got to protect employees from their employers, protect customers from the corporations they buy from. All of those approaches start with an assumption or a fear of negative intent. And in the 21st century, negative intent just doesn't even register for a company like Hancock Lumber. Like you don't stay in business with negative intent. You only are successful with positive intent, positive aspirations, positive action. And I think if Washington, which is a big word and covers a lot of people, of course, but if Washington broadly would approach companies like Hancock Lumber with positive intent, that would be a simple reframe of how we see the world that could go on to be paradigm altering in a generative way for everybody in America.
I love that phrase, positive intent. And I think you're absolutely right. I'm going to use that with members of Congress. If they would approach us that way, if voters would approach business that way as well, because there's a lot of misunderstandings around businesses, including family businesses. Excellent way to approach it is approach us with positive intent. So thank you for that. Thank you for being on this call today, allowing us to record your family business story. It's been interesting and fascinating. And again, I really appreciate your time. So thanks so much.
It was my pleasure, Pat. Thank you for everything